Tonight, U.S. military officials are under intensifying pressure to target ISIS militants and officials inside Raqqa, the stronghold in that city in Syria. U.S. military official tells us tonight that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, not him, but this man, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, is under more pressure, but he's also able to move in and out of the city fairly freely under airtight security. The question of whether to target leaders like him and avoid civilian casualties is weighing heavily inside the White House and on the minds of those who want to be the next commander-in-chief. And we have to warn viewers, some images in this story some might find disturbing. The city burst into our consciousness with these horrific images. Enemies of ISIS killed in battle, their severed heads displayed on poles in the city center. Crucifixions of non-believers out in the open for passing residents to see. Western journalists can't get into Raqqa, but residents and human rights groups say atrocities are part of life in this ISIS stronghold. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights tells CNN City Hall in Raqqa houses ISIS administrators, police, and fighters. The New York Times reports the top floors of City Hall are a dorm for fighters. Outside observers might think that City Hall would be a prime target for coalition bombing. Why is that building still standing?
Well, the complicated thing is that this collection of buildings is sort of intermeshing of civilian and ISIS infrastructure. In one of these buildings, for example, civilian prisoners are being held for relatively minor offenses on one of the floors. On the floor above it is where those same civilians are being tried.
Tonight, a top challenge for U.S. military officials under extreme pressure to intensify their campaign against ISIS in the wake of Paris and San Bernardino, how to target key ISIS leaders and fighters who mix in with the civilian population in Raqqa.
They've used them as civilians as human shields. Second, they quarter troops in buildings where there are other civilians as well. They also store weapons in civilian buildings as well.
It's a challenge that's been a point of contention in the presidential campaign. Republican Senator Ted Cruz appeared to favor a scorched earth offensive to target ISIS, then backed off.
We will carpet bomb them into oblivion.
You would carpet bomb where ISIS is, not a city, but the location of the troops.
President Obama responded by telling NPR the risk of killing innocent civilians is not acceptable.
That is not who we are, and that would be a strategy that would have an enormous backlash against the United States. It would be terrible for our national security.
Could the most sophisticated American missiles strike places like Raqqa's City Hall with precision and take out only ISIS militants?
By their own admission, there are no munitions that can do that from the air without being up close on the ground.